What's up, kitty cats? My name is Ali Cat, and we have something to talk about. I've been away for a while, and I wanted to address some of that. As you know from or as some of you might know from my live streams, I moved out my parents' place in August of 2021 into alternate accommodation, let's put it that way, with a friend of mine. I live with them. I'm renting a room out, and it's pretty fun. It's pretty cool, and I'm actually really enjoying it here. Um, I moved out because living at my parents wasn't very good for me or my mental health. That was really struggling living there. Um, and this is going on the internet, so I'm probably going to get in trouble for that. But like, I lived in the middle of nowhere, um, and there wasn't really like much to do other than go down the local pub. And I didn't really have a lot of friends, so whenever I would want to meet up with my friends, we'd go down to the local village pub. So my life was kind of like stagnating quite a bit. And I don't mean to say that like doing the live streams and stuff like that was making my life stagnate, but like in my general day to day life, a lot of it was stagnating. I was doing a lot of the same things, and like living in the middle of nowhere, there's nowhere to like go out and get work or anything like that. Um, but so like one of the main reasons for moving out was it was a really good chance to push myself and like get myself on the path, like in the right direction of being the person that I want to be. Like being the person that I think is like a good person, like the person that I want to present myself the world to. So when I moved, I didn't have access to a computer. I had a tiny little laptop that my housemate very graciously lent me, but it wasn't the most technical, it wasn't the highest spec thing on the planet. So actually making content on it was very difficult. It didn't have the capacity to do that. So my streams and content creation had to be sort of put on pause whilst I found a new job and worked on myself to be that person that I wanted to be. Thing is, though, it wasn't as easy a road as I had previously anticipated. And that's kind of why I'm making this video. With the script, you will see my eyes go to a very particular place, and that's just so that I'm making sure that I'm not waffling too much. Um, and it's also just so that I can like blurt stuff out, and so that you guys are up to date as well. Because I have been away for a while. I can't remember when my last upload was. When was my last upload? So the my last upload was the 19th of June, 2020. Wow, that's like 2.5 years ago that I last, did a video and sent it off to you. So that's why I'm making this video. What I'd really like to talk about is mental health, but in like the broad spectrum, because I don't want anyone to think I'm making excuses for myself, like for not getting back into content creation. But nor do I want anyone to think that I'm blaming it either, because there are so many things that contribute towards mental health and contribute to all sorts of different daily things that we have, that we do. Like there has been a plethora of things that have gotten in the way of my life and given me little bumps in the road, and they've not been easy to overcome, but they're not necessarily just because of mental health. Okay. So if you think this is going to be a topic that's like going to be hard for you to listen to, hard for you to hear, I completely understand that. I don't want to, I don't want to like pull up any bad memories for anyone. I don't want to make anyone feel uncomfortable. So if you like skip ahead to like down here, There? Yeah, about down there. There's going to be a timestamp there. Go to that, and that'll be where you need to go to like get all the news for what's going to be happening from now on. So, mental health. It's a tricky subject to confer respectfully, and I'm making it worse for myself for making this my first PC edited video. But I've received a bunch of messages via Discord and Twitch, and even actually my YouTube answer box, which is I didn't know that was a thing. I kept getting notifications off my phone saying, "Oh, you haven't responded to this message. Why don't you respond to it?" And I'm like, how the hell do I do that? How the fuck do I do that? Um, but basically, they've all been asking why I haven't been making content, and I suppose I just I feel like you guys deserve an answer to that question. So I'm gonna break this down into like a couple of sections so you guys can skip bits, rewatch bits easily, because I know for some people, like myself included, that listening to someone else's problems is really helpful because you go, oh, cool, someone else is going through those problems. Someone else is having those problems. I mean, for Christ's sakes, that's literally why metalheads love metal music so much, because it's screaming and angry and there. But yeah, so I want to start off by talking about something called BPD, or borderline personality disorder. And so this is where the like script bit is going to come mainly into account, because I have written out the different symptoms of borderline personality disorder, and I'm going to be basically talking about like how those affect me and which ones do and which ones don't, so that you guys can sort of like get an understanding of, look, because it is completely different for every single person that's got it. There's so many symptoms, and these are like the main symptoms. Like there's so many more, but they're more like either uncommon or don't affect people as much. Does that make sense? Um, so BPD can be refined to having any of these symptoms. Okay, number one, poor self-image. This is probably the most common symptom, or at least one that I've seen the most in other people with it. And sometimes it's really hard, genuinely, to see myself the way that others view me. One of the reasons why it's actually been really hard to restart making content and to do live streams is because I just don't see the value in people watching my content. Genuinely, when I made my old content on YouTube, I was very like hastily producing stuff via like snapshots and recordings from my PlayStation with a very, very bad quality microphone. I mean, this one isn't much better. It's better, but it's not much better. Um, and I didn't like what I was producing, and it really played into that self-image, because I want to be a content creator. That's why I'm doing this, and I wasn't producing the content that I consume from other YouTubers, and I wasn't going to start until I actually have that, because then I can look back at myself and I can go, ah, yeah, I did that. Number two, trouble directing yourself. This has been especially prevalent for me as I procrastinate a hell of a lot. At the time of the recording this right now, it is the 18th of the 1st, 2023. I have a 40k tournament starting in 6 days, um, and I should be doing that. But then also, I've been doing that to put off making this video. I procrastinate with both, like two things at once, and I have a very difficult time in like going, I need to like prioritize this, I need to do this, and I need to make sure that that's done by that point. that's been something that's been really difficult for me, especially at the moment. Because as I say, I have lots of things that I need to get done by certain deadlines, and I've just not been doing them because I hate myself, apparently. Number three, impulsive and self-damaging behaviors. And this can range from all sorts of different stuff, from like impulse purchases and chaotic spending tendencies to I mean, even that then leads on to like financial stresses, which is even, that can then also give you impulse purchases because you're so used to not having the money that you then buy things because you're used to not having the money, and then that puts you into the point of it's a vicious cycle. But that can also range all the way up to like self harm and suicidal tendencies, and there's going to be a bit more on that a bit later. Number four, intense and quickly changing moods. Now, this is probably one that people associate the most with borderline personality disorder. I have known a few people who, because they have mood swings, immediately think that they have borderline personality disorder without having like any or many of the other symptoms. And you do need to have like a few of them in order to be, considered to have borderline personality disorder. Like in the beginning, I was actually first diagnosed with multiple personality disorder, which is completely different to borderline personality disorder. But because the other symptoms that I have of borderline personality disorder, I kind of do and don't show as much, if that makes sense. So, like, there's with me, certain symptoms are more prevalent and they are more like out there, more distinguishable than the other symptoms. You get me? So that's why it was very difficult for them to diagnose me correctly in the beginning, because I was not showing everything, because I was like, I need to get the worst things out, and I got the worst things out, and then they were like, ah, cool, you have this, but then it was actually that. So yeah, intense and quickly changing moods. I've actually heard a lot of people talk smack about this as well, which is really disgusting. Like, imagine if you physically could not control your emotions, and you hear someone say that something along the lines of like, "Oh, it's just an excuse to act crazy," or "I wouldn't trust them because they blame their everything that they do on their mental health." And I've actually heard that those are genuine quotes from people that I actually once considered friends. Now like imagine how damaging that is for someone with borderline personality disorder. Like, I physically cannot control my brain to produce the correct hormones at the correct time. So I could be in, like, I've had it where I was at a funeral and I was happy. Like, I was genuinely smiling to pieces where everyone else around me was really sad. And that's kind of like more towards something else, but I'm not going to talk about that in this video today. But like, imagine that you physically cannot control what hormones your brain produces. And how can I put this? It's really difficult to like physically explain that feeling. Like, it's not my fault. It's not anyone's fault. The brain just goes, I'm going to produce a shit ton of like serotonin or dopamine, um, and you're going to feel all of these emotions right now. And then like 5 minutes later, it goes, okay, now you're going to produce a bunch of like adrenaline or cortisol or all of like the stuff that puts you in a panic, and you feel depressed and you feel horrible. Now imagine living like that, where like it's not necessarily like every 5 minutes. It can be sometimes. It depends on what kind of day I'm having. If I'm having a particularly stressful day, oh my god, every 5 minutes I will change mood. But like, imagine on a regular basis you have that like every hour. Your mood completely changes. And I've genuinely had that on stream, where I have had a mood swing in the middle of a stream and I've not known how to process that. So I have to like put up a mask to make people not believe that I'm sad whilst I'm streaming, because I need to look, I need to look happy. I don't want you guys to be worried. It's a very difficult, like that's probably one of the big ones for, like, as I say, it's the most like well known one. It's the one that everyone like thinks about when you say BPD. Um, a lot of people have said that they think that I'm mental because I can just like that. Like, I'm not gonna lie, about 5 minutes ago I had a mood swing, and I probably didn't even show it because I'm that used to it at this point. Like, I started this video off, like when I first started recording, I was I was not in a great place, and I was like, I've got to get this done. I've got to do it. I've got to make sure that it's out there. I need to do it. And I think when I started going through these symptoms, or like just sort of midway through, my brain was just like, "Ah, you're talking about this, so produce happy hormones." Like, there we go. And now I'm just really excited and happy and manic. It's a really weird one. So moving on, number 5, feeling empty or an overwhelming nothingness. And this is another really hard one to convey, to be honest. But all I can say is that sometimes I just feel nothing. And it's not like a depressed, I feel so empty inside. I feel nothing. It's like I physically do not feel anything. Like, I have no good or bad emotions. I have no wants. I have no dislikes. It's just, I just don't feel. And people try and console me because they think that I'm sad, but I'm not. And then that makes me be sad because they're trying to console me, and then they're saying all these nice things about me, and I'm like, oh, I don't feel that, so I'm going to be sad about this now. And then they get really upset with me because I'm not being happy, I'm being sad. And it's like they think I'm not being considerate of their help, but at the end of the day, my brain, it do not do the thing you think it do. It's this is turning more into a rant video than anything else. But yeah, it's a very difficult one. It is a really, really difficult one, and that kind of brings us on into like number 7. Um, but I want to talk about part 6 first. So number 6, paranoid thoughts when stressed, and this one doesn't particularly apply to me. Not in like the traditional sense, but from what I understand, it's like your brain like just turns on you when you're stressed, and you just think that anyone and everyone is out to get you. Um, like, I have that sometimes anyway, but that's more to do with my mood swings than it is stress. Um, I get paranoia as a mood swing, rather than like when I just feel stressed and overwhelmed. Um, I start like thinking that, oh, all my friends are gonna hate me and stuff like that. That's not what I necessarily feel. It's to say it's more of a mood swing thing, but that is quite a prevalent one. I've seen that in quite a few of the people that I've spoken to with borderline personality disorder. That's quite a difficult one to overcome as well, because it's your brain like physically attacking you. It's not fun. It's not nice. And I'm not gonna lie. I'm very fortunate that I don't suffer with that. But finally, on the main one, so number 7, is disassociating when stressed. God, do I do this? And it worries people. But I can't help it. I've done it on stream where I have disassociated, and just can continue going on like a tangent, or just not doing anything on a game, and I just can't help it. And it's just something that my brain does. When I'm particularly stressed and overwhelmed, I just disassociate, and I'm it's like I'm not in the room, right? So there's so much going on inside this here noggin that everything shuts down, and the Windows XP shutdown noise happens. Like, I'll be there and um but fortunately I actually have some really incredible friends that help me through that when it happens. And they kind of know how to trick my brain into mainly producing dopamine, and all the other happy hormones. Um, yeah, I'm very fortunate in that. And if you are struggling with any of these like main symptoms, obviously go and seek some medical help, but also find some friends that do that for you. Find some friends that when you have those problems, that they just make you laugh and they make you happy and they make you cry because you're happy. Because that has been one of the greatest things that I could have ever have asked for with dealing with any of this. And it is so good. It is so good. But like some of the like I'm just going to touch on like four other ones. These aren't necessarily ones that I'm going to talk about in depth. But it can even come with like interpersonal difficulties such as abandonment issues. That's a big one. But that's kind of like a broad spectrum as well. There's a lot of different mental health problems or difficulties or however you would like to put it that come with those abandonment issues because that's mainly to do with trauma. Unstable relationships. God, do I know that? Like, um, yeah. If you're one of like my close friends, then you know that I've had some unstable ones, and they're not always my fault, but also I'm very attracted to them because that's just how my brain works. Misinterpreting facial expressions is another big one. There have been lots of times when I think someone's very sad and I want to help them, and because I'm quite empathic, I physically. This is the weird thing. So I know I said I wasn't going to go like onto tangents and I wasn't going to talk in depth about these things, but I kind of feel like this is a weird thing that you guys will either find very funny or you're going to go, oh God, that sounds horrible. And then you're going to judge me. And I kind of deserve both of those things. But also, like, there's going to be some people that are also going to, like, really associate with that. And they're going to think, oh, I do that, you know? So, and again, it's like what I mentioned earlier. Sometimes hearing someone else have those problems makes those problems a little bit easier to deal with. So, with misinterpreting facial expressions, um, and being an empath at the same time. So, when I say I'm an empath, um, when I'm around people and they are feeling certain emotions, I feel those emotions. It is very weird because I can be extremely depressed and just fucking hating myself and hating life and hating everything around me. But then I'll tell my friend, um, and they will call me and they will go, "Hey, you're upset, you're depressed. I'm going to come pick you up in a bit. We're going to go for a drive, or you're going to come over to mine, or we're just going to go like sit on a bridge and scream at the world." And then because they're so happy to see me, it makes me happy and it makes me forget that I'm sad. Um, and like as I say, with my friends that really helped me, like misinterpreting facial expressions and being an empath at the same time is not fun in the slightest. But also, it's one of those things that, like, as long as you surround yourself with that positive energy, you surround yourself with the people that you know are gonna keep you well, gonna make sure you're okay. It's so much easier to deal with. It's so much better to deal with as well. It's so much more interesting as a life, to be perfectly honest. But like one of the final things on the interpersonal difficulties, and this one that I do actually have a scripted thing that I'm going to talk about, is anger management problems. Um, which I would say, along with the mood swings, is another one that a lot of people like associate borderline personality disorder with. Of course, like excessive anger is it can present itself in multiple different ways. You know, you've got the whole thing of like, oh, don't be a Kyle, don't punch the wall, or don't be a Karen, and shout at all the like, people working in the supermarket. Excessive anger is one of those things that sometimes you just feel excessive anger, and people with borderline personality disorder, like when we feel angry, we feel very angry, and we don't like being the angry as well because we don't like those bad emotions. Or generally speaking, a lot of the people that I've spoken to with borderline personality, you may not be exactly the same way. I'm not trying to out anyone. I'm just trying to cover my bases. But like generally speaking, a lot of the people with borderline personality disorder don't like feeling the bad feelings. And generally speaking, we all say that like feeling angry is not good. You should not feel angry. I mean, you can feel angry, and it's not bad to feel angry, but you shouldn't like justify feeling angry. You should always be like, no, I need to. No, that's bad. I'm not angry. I'm not going to be an angry person. I'm going to be a good person. I'm going to be nice. You know, uh, I've completely screwed the pooch on that, but I'm going with it because I can fix it in post. So people with, but the thing is, like people with BPD, they can get over anger really quickly, like in seconds. So I'm gonna tell like a little analogy of like the other day, there like something happened to me that really upset me, and I was really angry about it, and I was really struggling with processing all of my emotions because I felt really hurt, and I just just was really fucking not in a good headspace, and so I punched something. It's not a cool thing for me to do, considering I just made fun of people called Kyle, and I was also drinking a Monster Energy that day. Oh god. But yeah, I took my anger out on something, and you know what? About 3 seconds later, I stopped feeling angry, and I felt really happy, and I continued on with my day like nothing had ever happened. And it's a very weird thing. It's very strange, and I don't like it. But hey ho, it's just something that happens. And you know, like with the whole thing of BPD, because like that's the last thing I'm going to touch on with BPD. But like with the whole thing of BPD, I think there's so much stigma around it. You know, like there's so many people that have had, you know, like friends or partners or, you know, fuck it, even parents that have had borderline personality disorder and not been like one going to therapy. Um, I'm kind of guilty of that. I have been to therapy previously, but not since it's gotten worse. So that's my bad. I'm gonna start doing that again. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm making that promise now. But hey ho. But yeah, like not going to therapy or just not realizing that they've got it or not seeking help with any of the symptoms. Um, you know, like people have bad experiences with the people who do have borderline personality disorder, and the only thing they take away from that is that that person had borderline personality disorder, and there's such a big stigma about it. There's so many people that think, oh, everyone with borderline personality disorder is just a bad person, and I don't like that stigma because I have told people in the past, oh yeah, I have BPD. I'm making you aware because it's something that I have been told by my counselor that I should tell people. I should tell people that I have that. And they've gone, I don't particularly want to associate with you because you've got borderline personality disorder, and that makes me think that you're a bad person. And that's kind of bullshit. That's kind of fucking wrong. And there is a lot of shit in this society that we need to fucking sort out as a collective group because fuck you if you think that. Fuck you. But then there's the biggie. And this is like the second thing that I'm going to talk about. Then there's the biggie. Um, something that might be hard for people to hear, but it's not as bad as people might think, I guess. Um, it's got a for what it is. I think it's got a bad like name. I think it could do with a better name because a lot of people when I because I'm not particularly open about it, but when I've told people that I have this, they immediately think like the worst case scenario, but they shouldn't because I am like fine. I suffer with something called suicidal ideation. Suicidal ideation is pretty much what it sounds like. But let me make something clear. It is not the intent to commit suicide. Moreover, it's the literal, almost romanticizing of it. Like, sometimes my brain will just think about it, and I'll be making dinner, and my brain will be like, oh, I wonder what would happen if I jumped in front of a train. Like, would people turn up to the funeral? Would they not because they're worried about the mess? Uh, like, would they not turn up because they don't want to see me like that? Or I don't know, if I were like terminally ill, like would people see me in the hospital? Would they turn off the life support or would they wait? It's not like the literal want to commit suicide. It's more just specifically for me. It's my brain's obsession with suicide and the uncertainty of mortality. Um, like there are so many things that can be associated with it, and it's not something that I am generally open about because, as I said previously, people just take it the wrong way and they think that I'm just oh that's it, he's lost cause, just fucking shoot him now. And then people start babying me because they think, oh, this, like, oh, Ali's really sad, and so we need to make him feel better. And I'm like, I don't feel sad. I just, my brain is very curious and it likes to think about not being here anymore. It's very weird. And but to be fair, if there's anything you guys have learned about me from my YouTube videos and also from my live streams, it's that I'm pretty fucking weird. So it's kind of on brand. It's not something that I think anyone should particularly be worried about for me. If you're watching this, because at the end of the day, like I am good. I am okay. It's not like I'm spiraling or anything, or at least like I'm not on the moment. And I am like I currently have like an over the phone counselor who I speak to once a week, and they're really good, and they know all about this, and they're very honest with what they have to say, which is good for me. It's genuinely good for me. But then also at the other end of the scale, I have some really good friends. One of my friends, I'm not gonna say their name because I haven't told them that I'm making this video, but they are a former medical professional, or at least they worked for a medical purpose, and they have been so fucking good for my mental health recently because like they are really good at just getting the stigmas of myself out of my own head. um and yeah, like lot of love for that person because they're they're a prick because they're making me feel things, but they're all really good things. So you know so you may be wondering, Ali, why are you telling us this? And to be completely honest, it's because it's good to get this shit off your chest, man. It's because it's really good to talk about these things and to just unload every now and again because, like, stress is heavy, man. And you gotta just take that weight off your shoulders every now and again. And one of my New Year's resolutions is to work on myself and to actually become the person that I want to be, as I mentioned right at the beginning of the video. And I'm not going to do that by bottling things up. I'm not going to do that by just, keeping everything inside and internalizing it and just not making any progress. But also because by making this video, it's out there. It's out in the big wide world, and there's nothing I can do about that. I can take the video down, but you guys will have seen it at one point. You will have watched it and you would have seen these things, and I can't hide from that once it's out there. I don't have to worry about trying to mask anything anymore if I do that. I don't have to worry about watching what I say so that you guys don't get concerned. Because with this I can say I can set you guys' expectations, to be honest. You will be able to see when I'm falling behind. when I'm down, when I'm struggling to continue. And if I've learned anything this year, or sorry, in the past year, I should say, it's that vulnerability is genuinely the key to actually being happy. And this is the ultimate show of vulnerability. I can't be more vulnerable than it being on the internet. Do I care if people give me hate messages for putting this out there? Absolutely not. I give myself enough hate as it is. There's pretty much nothing you can do to add to that. Am I afraid that I'm going to lose some of my fan base? No, because if you can't be bothered, or if you can't like hear someone's problems without judging them, then you're not a particularly good person. And if you don't want to watch my videos because of that, that's fine by me, because I don't give a fuck. I don't know who you are. You know, like I want my fan base to be a bunch of really cool people. Because I think that cool people are cool, and I want them to be a part of my life. Mainly the reason why I'm making this video is so you guys can hold me accountable for not doing things, and especially for not making the promises or meeting the promises that I'm about to make. So promises. I'm very good at making them. I'm not very good at keeping them. So I'm going to change that this year. I am actually going to do things, and I'm going to make things work, and I'm going to work myself. So content will soon be being uploaded to YouTube again, and I'm going to revisit some old titles. I'm also going to do some new titles too. I will try to stream on Twitch, link in the description below if you haven't already seen it, on a regular basis to try and get back to where I was beforehand. I know that it's going to be a very, very difficult task to get back up to where I was, because I was doing it for like, what, a year? I think I was streaming for like nearly a year. You know, it's going to take probably about that much time to do that again. Um, but hey ho, I've done it before. So I'm going to get back to where I was beforehand. I'm going to surpass that. So the best thing, if you guys want to help out with that, is get the fucking fly out of this room. Is to just share everything. Just get it out there. If you think that my content is good and you want to see more of my content, show more people my content, because then, you know, I can make more content because I know that it's going out there and people are seeing it and people are enjoying it. But yeah, tangent aside, I'm gonna be making more content. I'm gonna be uploading more. I'm gonna try to upload more. I'm gonna try and upload at least once a month is my current goal. I do work. I work part time, but the part time work that I do are quite long hours. Um, so I work 3 day, well, 2 to 3 days a week, and I work for like 8 to 9 hours a day. So I am very tired when I get home, and I just don't have it in me to make content at that point. But I do have like other things during the week. However, I do have my 40k stuff, and I'm trying to make an excuse, but my 40k stuff is really good, and I really enjoy it, and it's like keeping me sane. So I'm sorry if you don't like that, but I prefer my sanity. The Discord, that's back up as well. Um, or will be back up. I'm going to be like sorting that out. This video is going to go out before I'm able to finish off doing the Discord, but the Discord's going to have a massive change to it. Again, link in the description down below. Um, and there's going to be lots of like different spaces for you guys to hang around and, you know, chat with each other, get to know each other. There's going to be lots of additional content going up on the Discord as well, like especially stuff like for my 40k stuff. Streams. Streams are going to be kind of when I can do them, when I'm able to do them, and when I feel like doing them. I know that's not particularly much of a promise, but I kind of have to set my own expectations, as it were. I can't just like you know, it's not very healthy for me to just go, hey, you know, I've had a really shit time recently, and I finally got all the things sorted for getting a new computer that's gonna be able to run games and, you know, actually make content again, and then just throwing myself under the bus by making like, you know, fucking, you know, 4 hour streams every day. I'm not gonna be able to do it. It's too much. I'm gonna say in like a few months, there's probably gonna be a schedule for streams, and I'm going to be organizing with some other content creators to collaborate with them as well, so that those are all like, you know, set in stone. They're organized, and then I can't go back on them. So yeah, that's about it. I have a new computer. It's very cool. It's very good. I like it a lot. It's very fun. And I'm not really sure how to end this, to be perfectly honest. So I'm gonna go on a bit of a tangent for a bit. So thank you guys so much for watching. It's been a pleasure having you along this massive journey with me. Like I've been recording now for like nearly an hour. It was supposed to be like 15 minutes. This was supposed to be like a 5 minute video, but I'm not very good at controlling my tantrums and my tantrums, my tangents. But yeah, it's genuinely been such a wild ride, and I'm really hoping that you guys will be there for the remainder of the journey as I get back onto Twitch, back onto YouTube content creation. But yeah, be good to yourselves, be good to other people, and I'll see you guys in the next video. I promise. Ta-ra.